Hello, I'm Renay. I'm an author and writer, so make sure you go check out my book on Amazon, Makeup Only Looks Ugly When You Cry. But today I want to talk about social media and how it's actually destroying humanity as I speak. I want to get into 5 main talking points: how social media influences literally everybody, friends, relationships, family, and then lastly, society. And I know I sound super woke, especially since I'm outside, but it's literally to paint an illustration of what we are missing out on as humanity. God gave us this humongous green earth to thrive off of, and yet we are attached to a box with a screen on it. And the thing about destruction is that it's not meant to scare you right away, right? The things that the enemy has put in place to cause destruction, it's not going to be one of those things where it's going to scare you right away. Kind of like the analogy where the devil doesn't come with, horns and a pitchfork. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing when it comes to anything in this life, especially when it has to do with worldly things, right? And social media is one of them. Social media was never meant to be what it is now. But given the fact that there's been so many agendas created since social media has existed, right? There's definitely something bigger going on. And again, I'm not trying to sound super woke, but if you have eyes to see and ears to hear, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It's gotten to a point where, like, we don't even realize what's happening because it's a sense of breadcrumbing. And I actually heard my dad talk about this with my mom or whatever, but it's kind of like how if we really knew what was happening to humanity, like if we actually saw it for what it is, right, without any censorship or without any sugarcoating or without anything, like if we saw it raw and real, we would be scared endless and we would change technology and the way we operate as human beings today. But a lot of us don't see it that way, right? So it's a sense of breadcrumbing, and we're being breadcrumbed into destruction. So I want to talk about my 5 main points today and the reason why I'm getting to a point where I'm going to start, weaning myself off of social media, because as a society we need to do better expeditiously or we're going to walk into our own trap. So to get into the point of today's video, I've just gotten to a point where I realized everything has become brain rot. You have to ask yourself, why do I think the way I think? Why do I operate the way I operate? Why do I move the way that I move? And if any of that came from the influence of social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, then there you go. And the thing is, when it comes to social media, everybody's been influenced by social media, black, white alike, man, woman, boy, girl, young, old, everybody has been influenced. And you're lying to yourself if you feel like you haven't. This is a picture of me during my graduation. What does that kind of aesthetic remind you of? Exactly. And so why would I feel the need to look like that for my graduation? What's wrong with how I look now? What's wrong with having twists in my hair? What's wrong with my head being wrapped or unwrapped? What's wrong with little to no makeup? What's wrong with my natural bareness, my natural image? What's wrong with that? Why is this not acceptable for graduation, but that is? Now you might think to yourself 2 things. Well, girl, you look fine in the photo. There's nothing wrong with you looking like that. You went all out. It was your graduation. Some of you guys might be thinking, well, how you look right now as you're speaking is fine too. There's nothing wrong with how you look. You could have did that for graduation too. But it's about how society as a whole have pressured, and this is a sidebar, pressured us into all kinds of things, subconsciously and consciously, one of which is beauty standards. Especially as a black woman, the pressure to be attractive and prove yourself is at an all-time high, right? Because for a very long time, black women have been judged, pressured, and told what they can't do in order to fit into society, especially American society. You dig what I'm saying? And so when it comes to that applying to beauty standards, a lot of us feel like, well, if I don't look like this, then I'm not attractive. and we begin to walk away from our natural God-given features and our natural God-given image. Why is that? And if you're a non-black woman watching this, I know that in your own communities, you have certain beauty standards that you're feeling pressured to abide by. We all do, especially as women. All of us have a beauty standard that society tells us we have to follow, or else we're not attractive. And so where does this propaganda and agenda come from? Social media. We all like to claim that, oh, I'm so different and I don't look like everybody else and I'm unique. But you look like the next person walking. We have gotten away from uniqueness and true individuality. It's not just about the way you think, but the way you walk, the way you present yourself. Don't be afraid of that. Don't be afraid of that at all. Secondly, I want to tie in relationships and family. Social media has destroyed the principle of family and relationships. The foundation starts with the husband and wife. But see, as a society, we've gotten away from marriage because marriage is just a piece of paper. And we've just settled for being baby mamas and being baby daddies. Meanwhile, our children are hurting. We've created not just a broken home, but broken children to come in the future. Yeah, your baby looks cute right now, and she or he may not understand. Of course, they're innocent. But what about when they start asking you them questions that you find difficult to answer? What about when you start to realize that they're behaving in a way that's abnormal because maybe mom is not around or dad's not around? Why is it that you feel like it's okay to bring life into this world that's going to be with you for the rest of your days and the rest of their days? Because it doesn't just stop at 18, but marriage is too much of a commitment. You're living together, you're breathing together, y'all have done all these things together, but y'all don't want to get married. Oh, it's just, that's unnecessary. That's just unnecessary. Is it unnecessary? But bringing this child into the world wasn't. And my hot take is I don't believe in unaliving a child before it's brought into this world. I believe that if you make the conscious decision to lay down with somebody and you conceive during that process, I don't believe it's fair for that child to be terminated. Unless it's something like rape. You dig what I'm saying? Or you're at a risk where their life or your life could be at risk. You know what I'm saying? So in those instances, I understand. When it's a true emergency or if somebody was raped, I can understand. But a lot of people, they lay down consciously with these people and conceive. And so my point is this: if that happens, that's why you should marry before you carry, and that's why you should protect your womb, because children are innocent, whether if they've been born yet or not. They're innocent. They have no part in that process. They didn't choose to pop up. It happened because you've become one with that person. So it takes a level of accountability and responsibility. Now you might say, oh, you're wrong for that. You can attack me, but that's just my stance. If I laid down with a man today and I conceived, it would weigh too much on my conscience to say, well, I'm going to terminate this baby because I just didn't like the decision I made. That's not fair. I'm the adult in this situation. I should know to take accountability and responsibility for my decision. But again, that's why it's about choosing the right person and marrying before you carry. A ring should be on my finger before I ever conceive a child. And that's how we should all think. But the problem is we don't love ourselves enough to believe that we deserve a good man, so we settle. So for a lot of women especially, it starts within. A lot of us struggle to love ourselves. A lot of us have childhood wounds. A lot of us have trauma that we don't know how to deal with because nobody has helped us deal with it, especially as black women. We're just told to be tough and strong and that this world is just cold and, stop being emotional. That's what black women are told. That's what I was told, So a lot of times, generationally, we struggle with how we operate with ourselves. And a lot of times it causes low self-esteem, self-doubt, identity crises, and low standards. But you have to learn how to love yourself and how to look for Christ for that identity. And when you have those standards, when you love yourself enough not to deal with certain things because you know you deserve better, then you're not just going to settle for anybody. And when you operate like that, God will be sure to bring you the right man for you. But it's going to be in due time, due season, and when God knows you're ready. But when God brings you that man, it's going to be the best thing that ever happened to you. It's just going to require your patience and your obedience. But we live in a disobedient generation that doesn't care to abide by law and order. And that's why we've fallen as far as we've had thus far. But again, a family starts with the foundation of the mother and father, who are first husband and wife. And social media has interfered with that. I'm just blown away because I've spoken to so many broken children who come from broken homes because the foundation was broken to begin with, because maybe they were conceived during a one-night stand or a situationship or whatever, or maybe things just didn't work out between their mother and father. And so you have these broken children who are functioning well, they're functioning fine, they're educated, they start their careers, they're doing fine, but that scar has never left them. That scar, those wounds, those mommy or those daddy wounds have never left them. And we as a society have not only normalized broken relationships, but we've normalized broken families, which have now normalized broken children. And that's why the world is operating in the way that it is, because everybody's broken. Nobody truly loves themselves because they've never been taught how to love themselves, because all they know is dysfunction and brokenness. And social media doesn't help with that either, because now they're learning, instead of learning from mom or dad, they're learning from social media. Instead of learning how to operate after making a certain mistake from mom and dad, they go to social media. Instead of having a good mentor, they go to social media. And this goes for not just people my age, but even older. People have so many wounds that they go to social media to help heal. And that's why our society is operating in the way that it is. And my last point I want to talk about is friends too. Because not only is the family dynamic important, but we as a society and we as human beings cannot operate and survive without having people around us and without being connected. One of which is good friends. As women, especially when it comes to our friends, we care more about the aesthetics. Oh, brunch, the club, or a party, or, soft girl, or this aesthetic, or that aesthetic. But the truth of the matter is, are those people genuine? Do they envy you to any capacity? Are they jealous? Do they want your partner? Do they want your man? And you're not going to find these things out automatically, but you need to start operating in discernment. Because, yeah, y'all look cute in those Instagram pictures, but how are they in real life? In a real way. You dig what I'm saying? And so I'm saying that because there's been cases where women have died in the hands of their friends. Shanquella Robinson, a young lady here in Georgia who died because her friend blatantly ran her over and didn't stop. She did a hit and run and didn't come back until minutes later. And the young lady died. 2 women died. 2 beautiful everyday women died in the hands of jealous, evil friends. I'm pretty sure if you went on their Instagram pages and they had their friends on there, they look like the best thing popping. But now they're gone, unfortunately. That's why discernment is important. So again, social media has made us to where we care more about having a baddie friend or baddie friends, or having a certain aesthetic when we're around certain groups of girls. But we completely dismiss, is this person genuine? Is this person on girl code? That's why I appreciate my friend that I have, because not only is she God-fearing, but she's wise. She gives me good advice, such as if you're dealing with bad thoughts, you have to tell yourself that those thoughts do not serve me. And she gave me real good advice. She holds me accountable. She's on girl code. She's not male-centered. All those things are important. You have to tell yourself, okay, well, I have all these baddie friends, but like, if a group of men come around, are they going to start acting different? Are they going to throw me under the bus? Am I going to be the butt of the joke? Are they going to put me in danger? Are they going to put me in an uncomfortable or even dangerous situation? You have to ask yourself those things. And if you start questioning, then you might need to really start discerning and scoping out, like, maybe these are not the people for me. You need to start looking for things like, how do they look at me when they think I'm not looking? I've seen it with my own eyes, how certain friends and certain girls look at me when they think I'm not looking. The eyes don't ever lie. You can see when somebody is jealous, or you can see when somebody feels a certain type of way about you, but they'll never tell you to your face. But they'll show it. Or they'll act a little funny at times. And you're like, why are you acting that way? You know? And the thing about social media is it gives people free game to plot on you if you're not careful. That's why I try to keep myself private and little to no personal business out there. The only business you'll ever know is if I know you personally. But other than that, you're not going to know my business. A lot of people came to me asking questions where I'm like, well, you're late. That ended or that happened months or even a year ago. But that's because I don't put my business out there. You dig what I'm saying? So you have to operate that way, because people, both men, women, black, white, and alike, everybody can plot on everybody if they truly want to, you know? And it really is that dang phone. You realize, like, dang, I'm missing out on the beauty of life because I'm glued to this box with a screen on it. Get outside, get you some fresh air. Even doing this video has kind of rejuvenated me because, you know, yeah, it's hot. Yeah, you might see me sweating a little bit, but our bodies as human beings need this. We need to sit in nature. We need the oxygen. We need to embrace what God has given us, because God created the earth for humans. If God didn't want us to be on this earth and operate and thrive the way he wanted us to, he wouldn't have put us on here. He would have put us on another planet. And I know that sounds weird or corny even, but it's true. So God created the grass to be green for us. He created the trees to be that the way. I stuttered real bad. He created the trees to be the way they are for us, for a reason. He created water, H2O, for a reason. He created the air and the oxygen to be the way it is for a reason. The sky to be blue for a reason. The clouds to be white and fluffy in the way that they are for a reason. You dig what I'm saying? And so with that being said, just going on a social media detox has definitely given me a new perspective, a wiser perspective, a perspective that people might not agree with. But when you get off of social media and you go into real life, you realize, like, dang, everybody's glued to their phones. Nobody hardly reacts with one another, or interacts, with one another. Everybody's kind of distant and shallow. Nobody wants to really be dealt with. Everybody wants to just be in their own world. If I don't know you, leave me alone. You try to say hi, hello to somebody, they kind of look at you a little sideways. Luckily, I'm from the South, so people are still friendly. Thank God. We still have Southern hospitality. But other than that, it's just like the world has become colder and colder and colder. And it feels good. The wind just came out and started blowing on me, so I needed that little breeze. But yeah, you know, I'm at a place now where I'm probably going to let this whole social media thing go, or use it to a very minimum, because it's just not worth it. It's not worth the deterioration of my brain and my life, you know? So with that being said, peace and love to you guys as always. Let me know what you guys think. Comment and subscribe. But with that being said, peace and love to you guys as always.